You're listening to Beat Autoimmune and Thrive, the podcast all about reversing and preventing autoimmune conditions so you can live your most vibrant life as soon as possible. We talk about autoimmune root causes, actionable solutions, and inspirational healing stories. I'm Palmer Kippola, and I used to have MS. Today, I'm an author, a speaker, a functional medicine certified health coach, a pickleball player, and nature lover who's helped thousands of people reclaim their health and their best lives. Let's dive into this episode. I am thrilled to be joined today by Julie Schiffman, a world-renowned practitioner of emotional freedom technique known as EFT, commonly known as tapping. With over 25 years of experience in mind-body medicine, Julie has helped thousands of people worldwide to release emotional blocks, manage stress, and reduce physical symptoms by guiding them through powerful EFT sessions. She has worked alongside Dr. Mercola for over 15 years and has been featured in numerous documentaries, online summits, and wellness programs. Julie is known for her warm, compassionate approach and her ability to help people shift limiting beliefs, clear trauma, and create lasting healing, especially when it comes to chronic health conditions like autoimmune disorders. Her popular YouTube channel has reached thousands, if not millions of people seeking relief through EFT. Now, I first discovered Julie and her videos back in 2014 when I was researching solutions for healing from autoimmune disorders. And I don't know if Julie knows this, but she's actually in my book on page 208 of the paperback in the Address Stress chapter.
Wow.
There is a blurb on EFT and the power of tapping. So you got to check it out. And by the time I reached out to Julie for her personal services last year, I felt like she was already a dear friend. And I'm so excited that she's here to help us all release stress. So whether you're dealing with an autoimmune condition or simply want to feel more relaxed, this is a conversation you're going to want to watch. And a very special note before we dive in, I have asked Julie to guide us through a round of tapping at the end. So if you can, tune in on YouTube so you can follow along and learn the tapping points as we go. Welcome, Julie.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. And no, I did not know that I was in your book. I mean, I feel so honored and so grateful. And what a true gift. I mean, not only to me to share, but what a true gift that you are giving to other people to just share your wealth of knowledge and information for anything and everything that people can do to help themselves. So massive gratitude for that. Thank you for having me today.
It goes right back to you, and it just goes to show that we are so interconnected. I mean, this is such a powerful modality that you have that I have used. We'll talk about it. We'll get into your story. We'll get into mine a little bit. But I'm just so grateful for you for being part of my journey. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yay!
you. Amazing.
So here we are, and I love starting with story, but I before we even dive into your story, EFT is very popular today. A lot of people call it tapping, but for somebody who's brand new to the concept, can you just walk us through what it is so that people know what they're tuning into today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because as you said, I think it is getting to be so much more widely known. And, but there are yet still people who have no idea what it is. So some people might be like, oh, is this tap dancing? Like some people feel like tapping, it must be tap dancing. So I mean, people honestly will say that sometimes. I'm like, no. So I love, love, love to share about tapping because it's one of the best and most effective techniques out there. There's a lot of fabulous techniques to help us to heal, but this is one I love because it's one that very often we can do on our own. And there are so many things we have to go to so many people to help us, which is not a bad thing, but this is something that in a given moment can be helpful. So I love that it's getting to be more widely known. And I learned about tapping in the late 1990s and have been using it with clients, so I guess over 25 years. So tapping, also known as EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. That's what that stands for. So it's tapping or EFT, maybe people have heard it be called. And it's a stress management tool that anyone can use at any time. It is simple, it's effective, And it is a relatively quick, depending on what you are working on or working towards. Um, it's sort of a quick way to help to ease emotions and help pain, actually physical pain as well, which might be creating a challenge for anyone. So, tapping is a combination of ancient Chinese acupressure and modern psychology that works to physically alter your brain, your energy system, and your body all at once. I always call it a win 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 because it's helping so many different elements. And it consists of this. It literally is tapping. It's just tapping. You can use one hand, you can use the other hand, you can use both hands. And so you're tapping with your fingertips on these specific, what we call meridian points, which are energy pathways throughout the body. And while we're tapping, we're also talking through pain or problem or different emotions that you might be having. And so this process can help with not only, as I was saying, with physical symptoms, but emotions as well. It helps to reduce stress in your mind and in your body. And when we're feeling stressed, our cortisol levels shoot up, right? I'm sure you talk about this quite a lot. And when your cortisol is high, it can be hard to make decisions. It can be hard to think. It can be hard to be present. And not only that, but the stress we're experiencing in our life can overtax our immune system. And that can affect our overall health and our well being, which can make it very hard to heal. So when we tap, which might look really silly, right? You walking around, tapping on your face and on your body, it may look silly, but what's happening is we're actually calming the nervous system and we're restoring balance so that you can feel better in your mind, in your body. And tapping has actually been scientifically proven to rewire your brain. It can decrease anxiety, it shifts old limiting beliefs, it improves sleep quality, it can increase your positive moods, right? Feeling better, release pain, and help you on the deepest of levels to heal your body. And just about really anything you can think of. Tapping overall has a profound ability to heal on so many deep levels. And so that's why I'm so passionate about talking about it and sharing it.
That's so beautiful, and it is so efficient. It is one of the it's one of the fastest paths to relaxation, and as you so wisely stated, we can't heal when we're in that cortisol-fueled stress reaction mode. The only place where healing happens is when we're calm in that parasympathetic nervous system state. And so sometimes breathing can help, but this I find, as you're going to walk us through, is just one of the fastest paths to that relaxation state, which we could all benefit from. So
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
is amazing. And I can't wait for you to walk us through it. But can you please start with your story and how you came to tapping?
Absolutely. So I came to tapping, like I said, like in the late 90s. But to start a little bit before then, how I found tapping is that I went to school to be a therapist. I got my master's degree in social work. And it was always my intention to be a therapist and work with teenagers. And so I worked in a school and I loved it. I was really loving it. And a few months in, I started getting horrible panic attacks, like debilitating panic attacks, like barely wanted to leave my house. But I had a job and I was young. I was in my, early to mid 20s and it was really bad. So I went to therapy, which of course was helpful in many ways. And I had recently lost my father. He had died to cancer a few years earlier. And it was just something I didn't really deal with. I was just like sort of pushed it down and, just sort of denied it in some way, right? Internalized it, but didn't really process it. So I was talking about it in therapy, but I was still getting the panic attacks and they weren't coming as frequently, but yet my subconscious was obviously still working through something and it was at least trying to, and I just wasn't getting there. So I had a good friend who was doing his own form of energy work. It wasn't tapping, but he was like, "Come to see me." He was like, "I know I can help you." And I was like, "Okay, I don't really understand how any of that works. I don't even know what that means, energy work. Like, what are you even talking about?" And he's like, "Come see me." So I did. And again, it wasn't tapping, it was something else, but it was so life-changing within just a few visits. I mean, panic attacks gone. Anxiety was minimal. I dealt with so many of the things that I needed to be able to deal with. And again, it wasn't tapping, which is what I do most of now, and it was something else. But the movement of the energy in my body was so profound and it was so
Mm.
healing and so freeing. And suddenly I was like, wow, I really felt this sense of peace throughout my body. And to this friend of mine, I was like, I need to learn more about this. Maybe not specifically what he was doing, but I was like, I need to like dive into this because this really felt like it was revolutionary and like this was what I was called to do. Like the
Mhm.
therapy and all of the training I went through was massively helpful and I loved it. But there was something else that was going to move the needle in like bigger and profound ways. And so fast forward a few years later, I left my job at the high school because I had been doing a little bit of training and like just sort of getting some information about energy work. I was reading about it more, and as you said, I started working for Dr. Joe Mercola, who at the time had a very large following in the natural healthcare world. So he hired me to work with his patients who were really struggling with pain, with disease, autoimmune challenges, anxiety, depression. I mean, you name it. He saw everybody for everything. And he had heard about tapping to help get to the root of the problem. One of the things that he very often was saying was like, you can take the vitamins and the supplements, which are also important, and eat the right foods. I could tell people what to eat and what not to eat. And at the end of the day, if people aren't dealing with the underlying emotional component and what's at the root of it, then it can be hard to really get to the bottom of it. Right. And so he literally gave me his credit card and said, go and learn everything you can about emotional freedom technique, tapping, go and learn everything. And then I want you to come back and use it with my patients. And I was like, really? Like, that's amazing. So I did. I went, I like, took a little hiatus from his working in his office and I went to learn about it. And I was like, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. Who's going to walk around tapping on their head? And, it was a little nutty at first, but the results over and over and over again of what we were seeing was just astounding. And so over the years, at this point, I've been doing this for over 25 years, and I've worked with thousands of clients, which beautiful, brave, amazing people who are willing to show up and do the work, such as yourself. And it's just astounding. And so the healing that happens is so incredible. It is beautiful. It is life-changing for so many people, even people who just go to my YouTube channel, who get it for free, who aren't talking to me one-on-one. I mean, just learning the process can be life-changing, and I am so grateful to be able to do this work, really, and to share it here.
Amazing. I am so grateful that you shared all of that because it's so funny. I found you by doing a YouTube search.
Oh.
I didn't know you saw people one-on-one. So for 10 years, I just watched your videos.
Oh.
And if you have not been to Julie Schiffman's YouTube channel, go check it out. There is a YouTube video for tapping for anything under the sun. I mean, there is so much thought and care that's put into this. And I actually feel called right now to share a personal story with you of how something that you have been doing has changed my life and how tapping really was transformational for me. So one of my biggest fears in my whole life was having my parents die. And of course, that's something that happens. And my mom was my best friend and just such an important person in my life. And I agreed to do her eulogy. And I was so scared, I mean, terrified to get up there, terrified that I would be bawling and not able to hold it together, and I learned tapping from you, and, I was able to do some rounds of tapping before I gave my mom's eulogy, and after just a few rounds, I felt so much more grounded and calm, and I was able to speak with so much more grace and peace and fewer tears than if I hadn't done it. I mean, I sat there in my car, I'm going through the tapping points, and really was able to bring my level of fear and nervousness down before standing up, and it turned out to be one of the most profound and important moments in my life was being able to do this eulogy, which turned out to be so beautiful, thanks in large part to tapping. So
Amazing.
it's not a healing story, but this is an example that anybody can use this for any reason under the sun. If you're nervous about something, if you have something going on in your life that is whatever that you're struggling with. There
And it
is
actually is a healing story on some level, right?
Yeah,
Because in that moment, you healed the
yes,
anxiety, you healed, right? You
exactly.
created a space for yourself to create
Yes.
something different in what was going on in your body and your nervous system so that you could actually be present for talking about your mom in such a beautiful way where it didn't come from this place of fear. You were probably able to really speak from the heart and come at it from a, so it actually is a healing story. It might not, it might
Oh
look
my
like a
god.
different form of healing, but that really is a healing story, right?
Julie, that is so beautifully said, and I'm so glad that you were able to frame it that way because it absolutely is, and it's just, a powerful example of how you can use this in the moment. Kind of like an emergency situation if you're ever faced with something in an emergency. So whether it's a long-standing health issue, whether you're getting up to do a public speaking opportunity or anything at all. I mean, and maybe you've got a story. I don't know if you wanna share anything where you saw either in your own life or maybe somebody that you worked with that had a powerful kind of transformation. Do you have anything that comes to mind?
Oh my god, I have so many. I
I
wouldn't even know
bet.
where to start.
I bet.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I see people all the time that where the healing that happens is unbelievable. I mean, I guess one that really comes to mind and stands out for me, one that I've shared often, so if people are not new to me, they've probably heard this story, but rheumatoid arthritis is a big one that I've worked with people. Also digestive, gut, Crohn's, that sort of thing are
Yes.
also big areas in which I've worked with people. But there was a woman who was in her 70s and she had arthritis all over her body actually, but she was having some really bad issues with her shoulder and her arm joints specifically and her hand. Like her hands were you know, deformed from
Right.
the inflammation and the changing of the bones and the joints and all of that. So anyway, she had come into my office and she said, I can't raise my arm past like a certain point. I can only like go to here, and I've got grandchildren that I want to be able to lift up, and
Mm.
I want to be able to reach to the higher cabinet without asking my husband to come and, get the bowls down or whatever. So, she's like, "But my doctor told me I just have to learn to live with it. Like, I'm not gonna be able to, raise my arm. It's just sort of where I'm at with the arthritis, and I'm just gonna have this pain, and I have to learn to live with it," which is one of
Mm.
those phrases that is like nails on a chalkboard for me when I hear
Mhm.
that because I hear it so often with the clients that I have worked with, and this is no bash on the doctors, right? I mean, there's definitely a place for the medical field and for Western medicine, of course. I'm not bashing that, but very often they'll just say, "Well, this is just what it is, like, you
It's
just have
best
to
you can
deal
do.
with it." Exactly. So, but we know that after doing this work for so many years and working with so many people, that the underlying emotional component really plays such a big part in our beliefs in our body and what our bodies are capable of, and if our bodies are capable of healing. And so we started tapping, number 1, on the pain that she was experiencing, that she couldn't raise her arm past a certain level. And then we also started tapping for the belief she had about it. Well, my doctor just said I have to learn to live with it, that I'll never be able to raise my arm up over my head. And so we did a lot of tapping around that. And the anger and the frustration that this is, number 1, her body's not working for her the same way that it was working. And feeling like her doctor didn't understand and scared about how her body could possibly deteriorate more and, all of that. And so we did all this tapping. And as my witness, like right in front of my eyes, she was able to raise her arm right above her head, like
Mm.
literally straight up above her head, because she was able to shift the energy. Like she dug into those emotions that were keeping her stuck.
Mm.
And it sounds crazy, right? Like you're tapping and all of a sudden you can't raise your arm and all of a sudden you can raise your arm. I mean, it's not, if someone hasn't experienced it, they're going to be like, what are you
Right.
talking about? Like,
Ye
this is what kind of weird woo woo stuff is this? But it's not woo woo. It's just this is our energy. This is just life. It's not woo woo stuff. This is like, how can you finally listen to your body, pay attention to your emotions? How can you create a space for healing, even if it's something that you have like no idea how it's going to happen, and just trusting your body to go through the process and just do it. I mean, more on this particular client is that, we work together quite a bit. So the shoulder thing was one thing, but also working with past angers, past resentments. She had some stuff that had gone on in her marriage and, just was carrying a lot of old burdens that she didn't need to anymore. And the inflammation came down so much. It came down so much in her body that she was able to um, release so much pain and the struggle, and she was actually able to create a sense of freedom in her life. And it's really amazing. But I mean, I've just seen it. I see it all the time. Like I said, I'm doing this over 25 years. And the healing that can happen when you address the underlying emotional components is, you just can't even believe it until you experience it.
I know. It's one of those things that can't be explained. It must be experienced, which is why we're going to go through this together. But
Yes.
for those who are skeptical,
Yeah.
as I was, as you were, there are so many studies that have been done
Yeah.
on anxiety, PTSD, phobias, pain, physical symptoms, depression. And this gentleman, Rick Leskowitz, who I reference in my book, he's a PhD from a Harvard Medical School psychiatrist. He called tapping the most impressive intervention he's encountered in 25 years of work. So this
I
has some
believe it.
cred from a scientific perspective. So again, got to be experienced, can't just be explained, and we'll get to that. But thank you for sharing about your client. And here's the thing, what's the downside?
Exactly. There is no
Right?
downside.
There's no downside.
There's no downside. There's no downside. If you're someone who's working with a lot of trauma in your past and you know that you have worked, there's a lot of trauma that you need to work through. I 100% highly recommend working with someone. Don't go into an area that you're like unsure of and it's a little scary maybe to approach on your own. But so much of this is something that you can actually dive into on your own, which is why I created the videos. I initially started the videos when I was working with Dr. Mercola because he had such a big platform at that time on YouTube. He doesn't anymore. But that's when I initially started it. And then I was like, God, if people could just learn my videos are 10 minutes or less, maybe 11 minutes, maybe are the most. But if you can just take a few minutes and do a few rounds of this tapping and just open up this space for yourself, calm your nervous system, is that anybody who goes and like looks at my YouTube channel and looks at the comments, they're all like, wow, this was amazing. This was like, I never knew this was something that existed. And it's not about me. I'm not like patting myself on the back. This is like this technique that has been opened up for people. Gary Craig is the first person who sort of discovered this back in the day, in the early 90s, probably, or early to mid 1990s, and offered this as a free, he offered his own sort of free experiences, helping people. And he created videos for people and that sort of thing. And so I'm grateful to that I was able to learn it. So now I'm like, I put out videos every week so that people can see how to use tapping for whatever it is you're working on, whether it's pain, whether it's autoimmune issues, whether it's limiting beliefs holding you back, whether it's waking up in the morning with anxiety, whatever it is, try it. You have nothing to lose, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned beliefs because there are a couple of different layers here. One of which is an immediate anxiety that you might be experiencing. But sometimes beliefs are really core and so deep. And I'm curious how tapping can address both. From your perspective, how would you respond to that? Because
Yeah.
I think when you shift foundational beliefs like I am not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not enough, those are profoundly inflammatory in the sense that they set the stage for both
Absolutely.
my behaviors in life, like how I cope if I don't believe I'm worthy, but also how our biology shifts and becomes a fertile ground for things like autoimmunity to develop later in life. So, how does tapping get to those, or does it get to those core beliefs?
It absolutely gets to those core beliefs. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And autoimmune issues are incredibly layered and complex. And they can be really misunderstood. And when we're not feeling good, we can create all sorts of beliefs and all things about healing and about ourselves. And while I can't tell you how many times I've talked to clients over the years that are like, well, I'm not deserving of healing. I did this in my
Mm.
past, or, my parents told me this, or these things have happened. And so I'm not deserving. I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And it's just not true. It's just not true. So, you know, healing always involves both the physical body and the emotional underlying components, always. You cannot pick it apart. They are not two separate things, the emotions and the physical body. They are all mind, body, spirit, right? It's all completely connected. And for some people, symptoms may seemingly start out of nowhere, right? Like you just wake up one day and you've got this pain or this problem. And for others, it can be a quiet whisper and the symptoms get louder and louder and louder. But it's never all about the physical component, although that's how your body is expressing
That's
itself.
right.
And so we have to look at the underlying stress. We have to look at the underlying beliefs when, like, going in and taking the deep dive in order to heal. From my experience in working with so many clients, emotional stress and anxiety play a very big role in the development and the exacerbation of autoimmune conditions. Any condition, really. But because we're talking about autoimmune today, we're going to focus more on that. But when someone is living in a chronic state of stress, and whether this is trauma, whether it's people pleasing, lack of boundaries, the internal pressure that people put on themselves, which all come from beliefs, right? Like if I don't work hard enough, I'm going to fail, or, those all come from a place of beliefs. Or some people feel like they have to keep pushing through, right? You have to keep doing, 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 without recognizing that you need to take time for that rest and regeneration, right? So people are often living in a state of fight or flight, not recognizing that old beliefs and old patterns and subconscious patterns are what is driving that, right?
Right.
And when we do that, it creates a ripple effect throughout our body. So over time, the internal stress, the beliefs, can actually overtax our immune system. And our body can become so overwhelmed with trying to protect itself, especially because of the beliefs that we carry, that then the body starts to, in some ways, attack its own tissues, right? Which is sort of the key elements of uh, autoimmunity, right?
Right.
And so anxiety, which is often based on beliefs that we have, then that's oftentimes where anxiety comes from. Anxiety can fuel the fire. And I don't say this to instill fear
Right.
and worry for people. I want to make that really clear. I'm not trying to scare people here. It's to help you to understand that your mental and emotional state is so important when it comes to healing, while also having huge, big doses of compassion and patience and kindness for yourself. I mean, that's huge, right? As you go through this process. But anxiety and worry keeps the body in a state of hyper alert and constantly scanning for danger in some degree. So whether it's real or perceived, and when someone already has an autoimmune diagnosis, the fear of the flare-ups, the fear of pain, of, I don't have to tell you, worsening symptoms can create even more anxiety, which then can loop back and jack up the nervous system and the immune system. And it becomes this whole vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And unless we know how to pause this cycle and create a sense of self in the body, it gets perpetuated. So tapping is such a powerful tool, and one of the best tools that I've seen over the years, especially because for the most part, it is a calming technique, right? It's calming, and anyone can use it for themselves in a given moment. It helps to regulate the nervous system in real time. It gives our body permission to relax and
Mm.
the start the process, of starting to like peel off some of those emotional layers,
Yeah.
grief, anger, fear, shame, guilt, all of those emotions that we carry that might be held beneath the surface. And tapping sends a message to the body that it's safe. And when the body feels safe again, and we're able to work through some of these old beliefs that we think are true, or that it has to be this way when really it doesn't have to be this way. And tapping isn't a magic wand. I don't want to make it sound like it's this, you take your magic wand and you tap it and poof. But in some ways, it really, in some ways, it really is, as you have experienced, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen it time and again how tapping can reduce inflammation, reduce the flare-ups, calm your body down, and shift people out of survival mode. And when I say it's a win-win-win, it's because when you shift out of these beliefs and the willingness to create a different sense of awareness about your body and its ability to heal, you're not only calming your mind in that process, you're also starting to believe differently, and then your body is also like, "Wow, this feels good." And so it's just sort of like this, it's just sort of this awareness. So, um, it's a win-win-win all across the board.
Yeah, and it feels like a deep sigh. It feels like we can finally relax now. Like we're paying attention to what the body needs because these symptoms that you may be feeling are just messages from your body letting you know that there's something that needs to be investigated. And it takes curiosity, an open mind. And if you are here and watching this or listening to this, it is proof that you have an open mind, that you are curious, that you are looking for ways to heal yourself naturally. And they work. Hard to explain, all of the science behind how. But if somebody is newly diagnosed, or maybe they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, or where would you suggest they begin with tapping? Would you just send them to your YouTube channel, or what would you suggest they do?
It's a great question because that moment of being newly diagnosed, or especially with an autoimmune condition, because again, it's so layered, and there's so much information out there. I mean, especially, your book for one. There's so much information, and I think some people don't really understand where to start or what to do with it. Or even if you've been struggling with an autoimmune challenge for a long time, either way, it can feel very big and so big to navigate. And so there can be fear, confusion, grief, hopelessness. And many people feel like their body's betraying them in some way.
Yeah.
And it can be frustrating, sad, scary, disorienting, all of those things. So, a good place to start with tapping. Um, yes, go to my YouTube videos. That's a great place to start, just to sort of see what it is. We're going to do it
Yeah.
today. But the key here is that you're not trying to fix everything at once. And I would just want to make that really clear. Sometimes it's baby steps, sometimes it's big leaps, sometimes it's just baby steps. And so you just want to just dip your toe in a little bit, right? It's about gently meeting yourself where you are. And I always recommend starting with the emotions that feel most present in the moment.
Mm.
And so if you're feeling fearful, then start with that. Even though I'm feeling scared or I'm feeling anxious, because we do say words along with this tapping, as you'll see in a minute. Even though I'm feeling tired or defeated, I'm honoring what I'm feeling and I'm open to healing. We just want to tell the truth with how we feel. This is just between you and yourself. So it's not about anybody else in this. And the beauty of tapping is that you don't have to believe that you're going to get better right away. You don't have to do this like, oh, I believe it's going to happen. Like, even if you're feeling skeptical, because pretty much everybody I meet for the first time is like, is this really going to work? But I mean, the clients I've seen over the years, especially when I started working with Dr. Mercola, they literally looked at me like I had three heads. But they were like, I will stand on my head and drink pickle juice if it's going to help me feel better. Like, I'll do anything. I don't care. If tapping is going to help, then, let's do it. So you just have to be willing to name what's true for you and how that feels in your body. And so it can be very helpful to tap daily. I always recommend doing it daily. You can do it when you wake up in the morning. You can do it as you experience stress throughout the day, even for 5 minutes. 5 minutes can be enough to create a space of like, as you said, it's like a deep sigh. And when you're able to deeply sigh, you're moving more towards the parasympathetic state.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be the place. We can't be there 24/7. But the more you can be there, the better it's going to be for you. Even just tapping and breathing, if you don't know what to say or how to start this, and that's usually what trips people up with tapping is they're like, well, I don't really know what to say with this. And, you can just tap and breathe, and you will have this beautiful sensation run through your body. And the consistency of tapping, letting your body know that you're paying attention to it, that you're listening, that you and your body are a team. This is a team effort. and your body is not against you. Again, that's something that I just want to reiterate here.
Yeah.
Your body is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And the power that has created the body is the power that heals the body. And your body wants to be on your team. It's not against you. It has just been responding to its environment. And tapping is a way that you can shift the environment, let your body know that you're in this together. And from a place of groundedness and self connection, and the healing can then be possible. Um, Healing isn't linear. It's going to go up and down and sideways and upside and just all over the place, as you know. We all know. Doesn't matter what it is we're working with. It could be anxiety, it could be pain, whatever it is. And just take the baby steps. It's not about tapping perfectly. You don't have to get this perfect. Tapping is a very forgiving technique. And that even if you're not getting the spots right, if you don't remember where you're supposed to tap, just do it. Just do it anyway. It's not about being perfect. This is about being honest with yourself. It's softening the judgment that you have about yourself, which is huge, building a new relationship with your body, and one that is really rooted in compassion. Compassion, having compassion for ourselves and our body is the best place to start, always. So I hope
I
that answers your
love that.
question.
It answers it so beautifully, and I I love what you said. It's start wherever you are,
Yeah.
but maybe with the biggest emotions because this is so layered and nuanced, and along with autoimmune disorders comes so many layers, as you've mentioned, the grief, the anger, the fear, the worry. Take them one at a time, and what's so great about you and your videos is you don't have to know this stuff. You just follow along with Julie. That's what she's gonna lead us through now is this round of tapping together, and you're not alone in this process. You've got this beautiful guidance that you're gonna lead us through, and what Julie does that I love is she is so fluent in this, and she's going to take us through, whatever you feel like taking us through in terms of releasing anxiety or stress or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Follow along with those words silently or aloud to yourself. And as you learn this, and you can start doing it on your own, you say your own words and just make sure, they're true for you. And whatever it is, you'll come to just be more comfortable with whatever it is that you choose to do. But I just love it's like, paint by numbers. We're going to follow along the bouncing
Yes.
ball with Julie as she leads us through. And as you're doing it, we'll be able to learn where those tapping points are and how to speak.
Absolutely. And thank you for mentioning, it's really important that you use your own words. Thank you for mentioning that. I do these tapping videos and meditations, and I always say, my words might not be exactly what your words might be. And so on your own, you can change the words to suit your own particular needs. That's how it's going to be most beneficial for you. But the way I create these is based on it's very general in terms of what I have seen with people and their healing on different particular issues. So I would say follow along. If you really don't agree with something that we're saying here, you can change the words. Otherwise, just follow along. I'm going to make it really easy for you. It is normal to sigh. You might tear up. That might be normal too. If by the end, you will probably feel calmer and more relaxed. So we're gonna show you through the tapping points as we go. And Palmer, I would just ask that you be my echo and repeat after me. And so anybody tapping with us, just go ahead and repeat after us and follow along also, okay? There was something else I was gonna say about that, but I don't remember. So just take a big deep breath in here and release it. One more time, take a big deep breath in and release it. Good. And we're going to tap through. So we're going to start on the side of the hand, which is between the pinky bone and the wrist bone. And it's a very gentle tap, 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 just like that. And repeat after me, even though I have some anxiety about this diagnosis
Even though I have some anxiety about this diagnosis
and what it means for my body
and what it means for my body
and my future,
and my future,
I honor and accept myself.
I honor and accept myself.
Even though I don't know what's going to happen.
Even though I don't know what's going to happen,
And maybe that scares me.
and maybe that scares me.
I'm open to the idea that my body is not my enemy.
I'm open to the idea that my body is not my enemy.
My body's asking for support,
My body is asking for support,
and I'm providing it now.
and I'm providing it now.
And one more time, stay on this point. Even though I feel overwhelmed,
Even though I feel overwhelmed,
tired,
tired,
unsure of how to heal,
unsure of how to heal,
I honor and accept myself,
I honor and accept myself,
and I give myself permission
and I give myself permission
to take this one step at a time.
to take this one step at a time.
And we're going to tap through the points. We're going to start on the top of the head, just sort of top and center. All this fear and anxiety about my health.
All this fear and anxiety about my health.
And then we're going to go to the inner eyebrow, right? Just like that. You can tap with one hand or two, whatever feels comfortable. I didn't ask for this.
I didn't ask for this.
And we're going to move to the side of the eye. I don't always feel safe in my body.
I don't always feel safe in my body.
And tap under the eye. And that creates even more fear.
And that creates even more fear.
And tap under the nose. What if I never get better?
What if I never get better?
And tap on your chin. There's so much I don't understand.
There's so much I don't understand.
And we're going to tap on the collarbone, just underneath the collarbone here. So much I don't understand about what's happening in my body.
So much I don't understand about what's happening in my body.
And we're going to tap under the arm. It's just sort of under, but yeah, right like that, where you're tapping. And it's exhausting to feel like I have to figure it all out.
And it's exhausting to feel like I have to figure it all out.
I'm going back to the top of the head. But what if my body's just trying to get my attention?
But what if my body's just trying to get my attention?
What if it's not betraying me,
What if it's not betraying me?
but it's asking me to slow down and listen?
But it's asking me to slow down and listen.
It's safe to acknowledge that I'm scared.
It's safe to acknowledge that I'm scared.
And it's okay to feel my feelings.
And it's okay to feel my feelings.
But I'm not alone in this.
But I'm not alone in this.
And I'm learning how to support myself in a new way.
And I'm learning how to support myself in a new way.
One breath at a time.
One breath at a time.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
I'm open to feeling safer in my body.
I'm open to feeling safer in my body.
I'm open to trusting the wisdom of my body.
I'm open to trusting the wisdom of my body.
Even if I don't know how it's going to unfold yet.
Even if I don't know how it's going to unfold yet.
I'm willing to believe that healing is possible for me.
I'm willing to believe that healing is possible for me.
And I choose to allow the calm to wash over me.
And I choose to allow the calm to wash over me.
I'm choosing compassion.
I'm choosing compassion.
My body's doing the best it can.
My body's doing the best it can.
And so am I.
And so am I.
And so I'm starting with how I feel about this.
And so I'm starting with how I feel about this.
I'm being honest with myself.
I'm being honest with myself.
My body is miraculous.
My body is miraculous.
And I'm choosing to feel empowered.
And I'm choosing to feel empowered.
This isn't about anyone else but me.
This isn't about anyone else but me.
And I'm too important to let this get the best of me.
And I'm too important to let this get the best of me.
It's time for me to change my thinking.
It's time for me to change my thinking.
Starting now.
Starting now.
I choose to believe that healing is possible.
I choose to believe that healing is possible.
Even if I can't see it yet.
Even if I can't see it yet.
I'm beginning to feel more connected to myself.
I'm beginning to feel more connected to myself.
I am open to the idea that my body can work with me.
I'm open to the idea that my body can work with me.
My body knows exactly how to heal.
My body knows exactly how to heal.
And I'm taking my power back.
And I'm taking my power back.
I'm learning about me and what makes me feel good.
I'm learning about me and what makes me feel good.
I'm trusting myself with what feels right.
I'm trusting myself with what feels right.
I am not my diagnosis.
I am not my diagnosis.
I have hope.
I have hope.
And I'm taking the first step now.
And I'm taking the first step now.
I'm welcoming these moments of peace and strength.
I'm welcoming these moments of peace and strength.
I trust that my body knows how to heal.
I trust that my body knows how to heal.
And I'm walking this path with love and patience.
And I'm walking this path with love and patience.
My whole body feels calmer and more relaxed.
My whole body feels more calm and relaxed.
And tap your wrists together. We're just going to tap them together like that and say peace.
Peace.
Good. Take a big deep breath in and release it. And just take a second and let that percolate. See how that feels. And hopefully there's a nice sense of calm there.
So calm.
Mhm.
Really centered, grounded, aligned, peaceful.
Amazing. And so you can sort of see how that process goes is that first you're talking about what some people would call the negative, but it's not negative. You're telling the truth of how you actually feel. And then you create a shift, right? You shift into thinking, feeling, being more positive. And then you're in a totally different state from the time you begin till the time that you end. And if something came up and you need to go through it again, please go back and, and tap again. And like you said, you can follow any videos that I have that, anxiety, all sorts of different things, nervous system regulation. But just do it. Just do it. Tapping only
Just do
works
it.
if you do it. Yeah,
And you don't have to understand all of it.
correct.
Just allow it to happen. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I felt an amazing wave of just calmer, more centered.
Yeah, amazing. Right. And so that took less than 10 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Less than 10 minutes. You can just come back into yourself and then you carry on with your day. You don't have to
Yeah.
do this all day long.
Yeah.
Just create a space for yourself to be like, you know what, I'm going to take a few minutes to calm myself, get myself into a calmer space. And then you can think clearly. You can make new decisions. You can, feel better about yourself and your body.
So one of the questions that I have, it's a blocking and tackling question about the tapping itself. Some people recommend starting with rating your anxiety or your stress level on a scale of 1 to 10 when you start,
Yes. That
right?
when we were starting, I said, "Wait, there was something else I was gonna say."
Was
I
that
forgot
it?
what it was, and
Was
it was
that
that.
it?
Yes, I was gonna say, everybody take a second and pay attention, connect with your body, and, 0 to 10, right, what's the intensity? 0 is like you're on a beach, no care in the world, you're fully relaxed, nothing to worry about, and 10 is like, "Take me off the planet." So, anybody on any given day is probably somewhere in between unless you really are on a beach somewhere. There's probably some element, even if you start at a 4 and you bring it down to a 2 or a 1, that's still a 30 to 40% shift, right? You
Huge.
might be in an 8 or 9 and you might come down to a 0. You might come down to a 3. Whatever it is, as long as you're going in the right direction. But yes, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for bringing that up. That was exactly what I was going to say, is that then you can really tell how you felt before you started tapping to how you feel after you were tapping. And 9 out of 10 times, you will notice that it's going down. If you notice that some emotions are coming up for you, that it's like actually a little bit higher, then you actually know you're onto something because your body is sort of creating this protectiveness, and letting you know this is like ding, 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 like this is something you need to continue to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And the important thing about rating something like that before you start is that there is some study that shared that people don't report feeling better until they're 70% better.
Yes,
And
I've
so
read
this
that.
is why I encourage my clients and students to pay really, really close attention to even the smallest details and the smallest shifts, because sometimes it's not going to go from 10 to 0. It's going to go from 7 to 5. I mean, and it's a micro shift, but it's still moving in that direction. And that's
Absolutely.
a win. And in fact, in my book, when you're that conscious and aware of a shift that is that small, that's even, I think it's a bigger deal, because the 10 to 0 is the obvious and the easy to get your arm around, but the ones that are really, really small but significant, I just think that's a super important thing to pay attention to.
Small but mighty, right? Even if it just
Small
means
but
like,
mighty.
"Oh, I think I'm breathing a little bit easier." Or I felt some heaviness in my chest, I don't really feel that. Even right, that's like a micro, it's like exactly what you're talking about. It's just that micro movement of the needle, but that can be a huge shift.
And move it to your conscious awareness, because I believe that when we are grateful for things and when we shift it into our conscious awareness, we actually get more things to be grateful for. We start creating these positive upward spirals. And I tell people all the time, that's why I wear this necklace. It's a reminder that I create upward spirals. It's easy to get caught in the downward spiral and keep going down, but we have to stop and pause and take responsibility for changing our state and to change our environments. I mean, the reason we got into the autoimmune problem has mostly to do with our environment. Something physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually is misaligned. And it's
Exactly.
nobody
Spot on.
else's responsibility but ours
Yep.
to shift that. And this is one of the most profound, simplest ways of doing that. So I'm a huge fan and supporter, and I wish I could say I don't do it daily anymore, but I used to for a long period of
Yep.
time because I needed that. But I'm reminded that this is something that you could add to the beginning of a meditation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great form of starting off a meditation just to help you to get quiet before you tune in. It's amazing.
Yeah. Julie, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and walking us through this powerful round of tapping. I hope people come back to that again and again. And I know so many people are going to feel lighter and calmer and more hopeful after this conversation. So if you're watching or listening and felt even a small shift today, I encourage you to keep going and come back to this tapping sequence anytime you're feeling stressed or stuck, maybe before bed. And remember that your emotions and your body are not the enemy. They are just messengers letting you know that, you've got something to pay attention to. And this tool, tapping, is an amazing, powerful vehicle to help us to listen and let go with compassion. So I would encourage anyone to find Julie on YouTube, follow along with her videos. And I understand you might have a challenge, a free 5-day challenge you would like to offer people. And I will put that underneath the show notes. But do you want to talk
Thank
about
you.
it?
Yeah, just real briefly, it's a 5-day anxiety relief challenge. And so every day you will be dropped an email. It will have a very short video. I think they're 5 minutes or less, and just doing a tapping round on all different things that create anxiety, to help you befriend your anxiety, which I know might sound foreign to people, but it's helped a lot of people. So again, you can get this by clicking on the link that Palmer is going to have. And really simple, really easy. But again, tapping only works if you do it. And so every day you'll get an email and just go through and tap on it. It's a great way to start your day. So I highly recommend it.
Fantastic. So there's that. And then there's your website, which is julieschiffman.com. I will put that below as well. And I just want to offer that if this episode spoke to you, please share it with somebody who could use a little bit more peace right now. And as always, thank you so much for being part of this healing journey with me, with us. And until next time, take wonderful care of yourself, Julie. It's just been an honor and a privilege to connect with you, first virtually and now together. I'm just honored to have you here with me. Look forward to the next time.
I am so filled with gratitude. Thank you so much, Palmer. I really appreciate you having me on and helping me to share tapping with everybody. And what you do is such a gift for so many people. So thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Until next time. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and if you feel inspired, please leave a quick review so other people can find it too. Now, if you want to beat autoimmune and thrive, make sure you sign up for my free video training at freeautoimmunetraining.com. That's freeautoimmunetraining.com, and watch the first video right away. Take good care. Bye for now.